Okay, so let's deep dive into this Antwerp Diamond Heist, the one they call the heist of the century. You might know Antwerp as the diamond capital of the world, but few realize the intense security surrounding its diamond district. Imagine fortresses within fortresses, layers of tech and guards, protecting a king's ransom and gems. And yet,
What's fascinating here is that even in such a high-stakes environment, human psychology plays a crucial role. The very idea of security theater, creating a perception of impenetrability, can sometimes mask underlying vulnerabilities.
that's where Leonardo Notarbartolo comes in, right? Our mastermind. He was playing a long game, renting an office in the Antwerp World Diamond Center for almost 2 years, posing as a diamond merchant just to get a feel for the place. What does that tell you about his personality?
It speaks to incredible patience and meticulous planning. He wasn't interested in a quick smash and grab, he was studying the system, looking for those weak points, the weak points that security theater might have overlooked. Nota Bartolo understood that time, in this case, was his most valuable tool.
He wasn't just biding his time, though, right? He was actively gathering intel, using camera pens to snap photos of the vault layout, even hiding a camera to record the guard entering the combination.
That's right, he was building a detailed blueprint of the Vault's defenses, not just relying on brute force, but on knowledge. And that brings us to an interesting point. The team even constructed a full-scale replica of the vault for practice. What do you make of that?
Well, it shows the level of dedication and planning involved,
Hmm.
but also the sheer audacity of the whole operation. They weren't just winging it. This was a carefully choreographed performance.
Exactly. They rehearsed their moves, anticipating potential obstacles, and fine-tuning their strategy. But even with all the preparation, think about the pressure they must have felt on the night of the heist itself. They were operating in darkness, relying on memory and precision timing.
So let's get into how they actually pulled it off. They had some pretty ingenious ways of bypassing the security systems, right? Like
Yeah.
hairspray to disable heat sensors. That sounds almost too simple.
It does, doesn't it? But it highlights a crucial point. Security systems often rely on assumptions about how they'll be bypassed. A simple can of hairspray becomes a powerful tool when used in an unexpected way. They also crafted a custom aluminum shield to get past the magnetic field sensor. It's this combination of low-tech ingenuity and specialized knowledge that made them so effective.
And let's not forget the black plastic bags over security cameras, straight out of a spy movie.
Hmm.
But what I find really intriguing is the King of Keys. This guy was apparently a master locksmith who managed to duplicate the incredibly complex vault key. What kind of skill would that take?
The King of Keys remains a mystery, his true identity never unveiled. Some speculate he was a former security expert, intimately familiar with high-security lock systems. Others believe he was a talented craftsman, able to decipher and replicate even the most intricate mechanisms.
It adds a whole other layer to the story, doesn't it? This shadowy figure with almost mythical abilities. And then there's the monster, who manipulated the security system's wiring to prevent any alarms. This team was like a well-oiled machine, each member playing a critical role.
And they needed to be. Think about it. They were up against multiple layers of security, from motion sensors to heat detectors, magnetic fields to light-sensitive alarms. They even disabled the light sensor with simple black tape. Their success hinged on each member flawlessly executing their part of the plan.
It's almost like watching a high-stakes ballet, where every move is calculated, every step perfectly timed. But here's the thing, they didn't just get past the outer layers of security, they cracked the vault itself.
That's right. And we're not talking about some simple safe. This was a high-security vault, designed to withstand even the most determined attacks.
And they managed to empty over 123 out of 160 safe deposit boxes, making off with over $100 million in diamonds, gold, and jewelry. The sheer scale of the loot is mind-boggling.
And that's what cemented the Antwerp Diamond Heist's place in history. It wasn't just about the monetary value, it was a symbolic victory against what seemed like an impenetrable system. It forced the world to acknowledge that no matter how strong your defense is, there's always someone out there who can find a way in.
And to think, all of this happened under the cover of darkness, right under everyone's noses. They vanished into the night, leaving behind an empty vault and a city in shock. It must have felt like the perfect crime.
For a while. It certainly did. But as with most elaborate plans, there were unforeseen consequences. Tiny details that would eventually unravel their carefully constructed facade. You know, it's often said that pride comes before a fall. And in this case, a simple trash bag became the thread that unraveled this meticulously woven heist.
Oh, you're talking about the discarded evidence that led to Noto Bartolo's arrest. It always amazes me how seemingly insignificant details they can bring down even the most elaborate schemes. It's a classic reminder that no matter how meticulous you are, there's always a chance of leaving a trace.
Precisely. And in this case, it was a bag. A bag containing traces of the adhesive used to disable the alarm sensors, along with other incriminating items. That pointed the authorities straight to Notar Bartolo.
Talk about a rookie mistake. But what happened next? Did they manage to round up the entire gang?
Well, the investigation took a fascinating turn. While the police did manage to apprehend 3 more members of the team, each with their own unique skill set. The identities of Speedy, the monster, and the genius, they were only revealed through their aliases, as Notar Bartolo chose to protect their true identities.
So they were caught. But their real names remain a secret. It's like they vanished into thin air, almost as if they never existed.
It speaks to the level of trust and loyalty within the group, Notar Bartolo. Even when facing the consequences of his actions, he chose to shield his accomplices. It makes you wonder about the bonds forged in the crucible of such a high-stakes operation. And of course, the mystery surrounding the King of Keys only deepens. He remains the enigma of this story, his true identity still unknown.
What theories are out there about the King of Keys? How could someone with that level of skill just disappear? It almost feels like he was a ghost, a phantom who played his part and then vanished without a trace.
That's what makes this case so captivating, isn't it? Some believe he was a professional, brought in specifically for his unique talents, and then paid handsomely to disappear. Others speculate he might have had a connection to one of the victims, seeking revenge or perhaps a specific item from one of the safe deposit boxes.
If the King of Keys had a different objective, what could it have been? It's tantalizing to think that there might have been more to this heist than just the diamonds. But let's get back to Notar Bartolo. What happened after his arrest? Did he confess to the whole thing?
That's where the story takes another unexpected twist. Remember those whispers of an insurance scam we talked about? Well, Notar Bartolo claimed that the entire heist, it was actually orchestrated by a shadowy diamond merchant who wanted to defraud the insurance company. He insisted they only stole a fraction of what was reported, around $20 million worth, and that the real objective was to stage a much larger theft.
Wait, so he's saying he was just a pawn in someone else's game. That's quite a claim, but does it hold any water?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? While Notar Bartolo's story might seem far-fetched, remember that the vault itself wasn't insured, due to its perceived security flaws.
So if the vault wasn't insured, why stage a heist at all? It doesn't make much sense.
Exactly. That's why some experts remain skeptical of Notar Bartolo's claims. They believe he might have been trying to downplay his role in the heist, protect someone else, or simply create a more sensational narrative.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. We have these tantalizing clues, conflicting accounts, and a mastermind who's weaving a web of intrigue. It's enough to make your head spin.
Indeed. And that's precisely what makes the Antwerp Diamond Heist so compelling. It's a real-life mystery with layers of deception, unanswered questions, and a fortune in diamonds still unaccounted for.
This is where it gets really interesting, right? I mean, if we entertain Notar Bartolo's claim for a moment, what would be the motive for staging such an elaborate heist, if not for insurance fraud?
That's where we venture into the realm of speculation. Some theories suggest that the target wasn't the diamonds themselves, but something else entirely. Perhaps sensitive documents hidden within a safe deposit box, compromising information about someone powerful, or even a rare artifact with value far exceeding that of the stolen gems.
So diamonds were just a smokescreen, a way to distract from the real objective. That's a pretty wild theory.
It is, but it would explain why they targeted a vault that wasn't insured, and why the King of Keys vanished so completely. Maybe he was the only one who knew the true target and disappeared with it, leaving the diamonds behind as a decoy.
Now that's a twist worthy of a Hollywood blockbuster. It makes you wonder if Notar Bartolo was telling the truth, or if he was playing a much deeper game than anyone realized.
It's a fascinating possibility. Perhaps he knew more than he was letting on. Or maybe he was a master manipulator, spinning a tale to protect himself and his accomplices. The truth, as they say, is often stranger than fiction.
You know, thinking about the Antwerp Diamond Heist, it makes you wonder about the ripple effects, the lasting impact beyond the immediate shock and the missing millions. What happened in the aftermath?
Well, the heist sent shock waves through the global diamond industry, forcing a reassessment of security measures and vulnerabilities. It exposed weaknesses that nobody had anticipated.
So it was a wake-up call for the diamond world.
Absolutely. Imagine the world you described in the beginning of our deep dive. Those layers of security designed to protect Antwerp's diamond district. After the heist, everyone had to acknowledge that no system is truly impenetrable.
I bet those insurance premiums skyrocketed.
I can only imagine. But the changes went beyond just physical security. The heist highlighted the importance of the human element, the fact that social engineering and manipulation, they can be just as effective as sophisticated tools.
Right. Novardo told his whole charade as a charming Italian diamond merchant. He played on trust and exploited complacency. It's a reminder that we can sometimes be the weakest link in any security system.
Precisely. The Antwerp Diamond Heist brought about stricter background checks, more thorough staff training, and a heightened awareness of potential infiltration tactics. It was a turning point for the industry.
It's fascinating how a single event, a criminal act, could lead to such widespread change. But what about the stolen diamonds? Were any of them ever recovered?
Sadly, the vast majority remain missing. Experts believe they were likely recut and smuggled back into the market, making them virtually untraceable. They could be anywhere in the world, adorning someone's wrist or neck, their origins obscured.
So they're out there somewhere, glittering under the lights. Their history, a secret known only to a few. It's almost poetic, isn't it? These stolen gems, scattered across the globe, carrying with them the echoes of a daring heist.
It does add a layer of intrigue to the story, doesn't it? The thought that we might unknowingly encounter one of these diamonds, a tangible link to this incredible event. It speaks to the lasting impact of the heist, how it continues to fascinate